Did you know that the biggest killer of men under 50 is not disease or accidents but suicide? A statement as shocking as it is true. When we hear about the leading causes of death, our minds often jump to heart disease, cancer, or fatal accidents. But for men under 50, the silent specter of suicide claims more lives than any of these. A chilling fact that makes us stop and wonder, why? Dive deeper into this alarming statistic and you'll find a myriad of contributing factors. From societal pressure to financial stress, several elements play a part. But one factor that often goes unnoticed is the bias in the family court system. Yes, you heard it right. The family court system, a place where justice should be blind, is often skewed against men, particularly fathers. Imagine being a father, longing to be a part of your child's life, but a biased system pushes you to the sidelines. Over 3.8 million children live in fatherless homes, not always by choice, but often as a result of an unfair court decision. 2/3 of murder victims are male, and a staggering 75% of all suicides involve men. Could there be a correlation? Could the heartbreak of being torn from their children contribute to these grim figures? It's a thought that warrants attention, especially when you consider that nearly 60% of the prison population are fathers. These men, once part of a family, now find themselves isolated behind bars. And the percentage of mothers in the same situation? Negligible. The impact of this bias doesn't stop at the individual level. It trickles down to the children too. 1 in 4 children doesn't consider their father to be part of their family, and 1 in 3 children live without their father. These are more than mere numbers. They're a testament to a system that seems to have lost its balance, favoring one parent over another and leaving a trail of broken families in its wake. This raises a serious question. Is the family court system failing men? And if so, what can we do to rectify it? These are the questions that we need to ask ourselves as we delve deeper into this silent crisis. When we talk about murder victims, 2 in 3 are male. A shocking statistic, isn't it? Yet it's a reality that often goes unnoticed. The majority of murder victims are men, a fact that underscores the vulnerability of men in our society and the disproportionate levels of violence they experience. Now let's connect this chilling fact to the family court system. It may seem unrelated, but bear with me. The family court system, designed to protect and uphold the rights of all family members, often overlooks the rights of fathers. When a family breaks down, fathers are frequently left on the sidelines, their roles diminished, their rights disregarded. In fact, more than 3.8 million children are growing up in fatherless homes. This is not a reflection of a lack of desire or effort on the part of these fathers. Rather, it's a consequence of a system that too often sidelines men, marginalizing their roles as fathers. Consider this. 1 in 4 children don't consider their father to be part of their family. This is not a choice these children make lightly. It's a painful reality forced upon them by circumstances beyond their control, by a system that fails to recognize and uphold the importance of a father's role in a child's life. But what happens when a father is erased from a child's life? The consequences are devastating. Children from fatherless homes are more likely to suffer from a range of issues, from mental health problems to educational difficulties. They are also more likely to become victims or perpetrators of violence. And let's not forget the men themselves. The pain of being separated from their children, of having their roles as fathers minimized, can be unbearable. It's no surprise then that suicide is the biggest killer of men under 50. Clearly, the suffering of men and fathers is not just limited to suicides. It's a deep-seated issue, rooted in a system that too often overlooks the rights and needs of fathers, and it's time we started talking about it. Over 3.8 million children in our country live in a fatherless home. This is a staggering statistic that paints a grim picture of a generation growing up without the guidance, support, and love of a father figure. Children growing up in fatherless homes face profound challenges. On the psychological front, these children are more prone to depression, anxiety, and other mental health issues. They often struggle with feelings of abandonment, rejection, and self-doubt. The absence of a father figure can leave a void that's difficult to fill, leading to a sense of incompleteness. On the social development front, children from fatherless homes often face difficulties in forming healthy relationships. They may struggle with trust issues, have difficulty understanding the dynamics of a traditional family, and may even carry these problems into their adult lives, affecting their own families in the future. But why is this happening? Why are so many children growing up without their fathers? One significant factor is the bias in our family court system, which often favors mothers in custody battles. Fathers are sometimes painted with a broad brush, seen as less capable caregivers or worse, potential threats to their children. This is despite numerous studies showing that children thrive best with the active involvement of both parents. The result? A disproportionate number of fathers are stripped of their rights to be a part of their children's lives, leading to a generation growing up without the love and guidance of their fathers, and the children are the ones who suffer the most. But it doesn't have to be this way. We can challenge the biases, fight for equal rights in custody battles, and ensure that every child has the opportunity to grow up with the love and support of both parents. Are we denying our children the love and guidance of their fathers? The answer should be a resounding no. It's time to change this narrative and give our children the fathers they deserve. Fathers make up 59% of the prison population, while the percentage of mothers is negligible. This startling fact begs the question, why is there such a disparity? The answer, it seems, lies in the intricacies of the family court system and the burdens it often places on fathers. Now, let's delve into the heart of the issue. The family court system, despite its best intentions, has inadvertently created a vicious cycle. It starts with the financial obligations imposed on fathers. According to the Child Support Act of 1991, a father is required to provide financial support to his children, even if he has no right to a relationship with them. This financial obligation, often termed as a tax on fatherhood, can be crippling. In many instances, these fathers are already struggling to make ends meet. The added financial stress can push them over the edge, leading to a downward spiral of debt, despair, and desperation. And in the worst-case scenario, it leads to criminal behavior and prison time. But the story doesn't end there. The time spent behind bars further strains the already fragile relationship between the father and his children. This perpetuates the cycle of fatherlessness, with over 3.8 million children currently living without a father figure in their lives. Moreover, the psychological impact on these imprisoned fathers is immense. The knowledge that their children are growing up without them can lead to feelings of guilt, remorse, and hopelessness. Tragically, this contributes to the grim statistic that 75% of all suicides involve men. In essence, the system, instead of providing a platform for fair and equitable co-parenting, is setting these fathers up for failure. It's a lose-lose situation, with the fathers, the children, and society at large bearing the brunt of the consequences. In a world where 2 in 3 murder victims are male and 40% of domestic violence victims are men, it's high time we reassess the role of fathers in our society and the systemic pressures they face. Is the system setting fathers up for failure? The answer seems to be a resounding yes. But it's not too late to break this cycle and strive for a system that upholds the rights and roles of fathers. Shocking as it may seem, 1 in 4 children don't consider their father to be part of their family. A statistic that leaves a chill in the air, a reality that is heartbreaking, and a truth that is too often swept under the rug. Now, let's pause for a moment and think about the emotional implications this has on the children and the fathers. For the children, it's a sense of incompleteness, a missing piece in their life puzzle. It's growing up without the guidance, the support, and the love of a father figure. It's a void that often echoes into their adulthood, shaping their relationships, their self-esteem, and their outlook on life. For the fathers, it's a feeling of being outcast, of being stripped of their right to love, to guide, and to protect their own flesh and blood. It's a heartache that's often silent but deep, a pain that's invisible but real. It's a battle they fight every day, a struggle they bear in silence, a longing that's never quenched. Now you may ask, how did we get here? The answer lies in the very system that's supposed to protect family ties, our family courts. Far too often, these courts have shown a disturbing bias, disregarding the rights of fathers, and in turn, the well-being of the children. They have perpetuated a narrative that sidelines fathers, that reduces them to mere spectators in their children's lives. This is not just about the fathers. This is about the children who are robbed of their father's love. This is about the society that suffers the ripple effects of these broken family ties. This is about the generations that grow up believing that a father's role is dispensable, that a father's love is optional. We need to question, we need to challenge, we need to change. Is it fair to the fathers? Is it fair to the children? Is it fair to our society?
Are our courts driving a wedge between fathers and their children? We need to ask ourselves, are we okay with this?
Family breakdown is not just a social issue, but a financial one too, costing us a staggering £47 billion each year. Imagine the sheer scale of that figure. It's not just about the money, but the stories behind it. These are stories of fathers, mothers, and most importantly, the children caught in the crossfire. Each pound represents a missed opportunity, a lost connection, a broken heart. When families break down, the cost is far more than financial. It's emotional, it's psychological. But let's focus on the financial aspect for a moment. When a father is removed from the family unit, the economic stability of that family is often threatened. This can lead to increased government spending on social services and welfare programs, contributing significantly to the £47 billion cost. The family court system plays a significant role in this. Instead of promoting co-parenting or shared custody, which would allow both parents to contribute financially and emotionally to their children's lives, these courts often favor one parent over the other. This system, inadvertently or not, continues to fuel the cycle of family breakdowns. Fathers are often relegated to the role of mere financial contributors, stripped of their rights to form meaningful relationships with their children. This can lead to feelings of frustration, alienation, and despair, further driving the wedge between them and their families. We also need to consider the cost of enforcing child support payments, which can be a significant financial burden on the state. These resources could be better spent on preventing family breakdowns in the first place through initiatives like family counseling and mediation, parenting classes, and support for struggling families. What's more, the emotional toll of these breakdowns can lead to increased healthcare costs as people struggle with mental health issues like depression and anxiety. The ripple effects of family breakdowns spread far and wide, touching every aspect of our society. It's clear that the cost of family breakdowns is high, both financially and emotionally. The question we need to ask ourselves is, are we paying the price for a biased court system? Scene script. Every day in secret courts, 200 children lose contact with their fathers. Picture that. 200 children daily, stripped of their right to a relationship with their dad. These secret courts, known as family courts, operate behind closed doors, making decisions that deeply impact the lives of fathers and children alike. They're supposed to protect the best interests of the child, but can we truly say that's what's happening? Let's dig deeper into what goes on in these courts. In the name of privacy, proceedings are kept confidential. While privacy is important, this lack of transparency often means that fathers are left feeling unheard and powerless. They are often met with decisions that limit or remove their access to their children, all decided and sealed away from public scrutiny. Moreover, the secretive nature of these courts also means that there is little accountability for the decisions made. Without the watchful eye of the public, the scales of justice can tip unnoticed, leading to outcomes that may not truly reflect the best interests of the child. The impact of these decisions is far-reaching. Children are growing up without the influence and support of their fathers. The emotional toll on both the child and the father is immense. Moreover, this can perpetuate a cycle of fatherless homes, a cycle that we know comes with its own set of serious societal issues. And yet, the voices of these fathers are often muffled, their pleas for fairness lost in the echo chambers of these secret courts. The question that lingers is, are the courts doing more harm than good? Are they tearing families apart under the guise of maintaining the child's best interest? We need to shed light on these secret courts to ensure that the decisions made are fair, justified, and truly in the best interest of the child. We need transparency and we need accountability. Are our courts making decisions in the dark that harm our children? It's a question that demands our attention, and it's a conversation that we urgently need to have. The Child Support Act 1991 has been described as a tax on fatherhood. This legislation, implemented over 3 decades ago, placed a financial obligation on fathers, yet didn't guarantee them any corresponding rights to a relationship with their children. Imagine being told that you're responsible for providing for a child, yet you're not entitled to any say in that child's upbringing. You're expected to pay, but not to parent. This is the reality for countless fathers under the Child Support Act. This act was established with the intention of ensuring that both parents contribute to their child's upbringing. But has it achieved its goal? Or has it simply imposed a financial burden on fathers without considering their right to be part of their children's lives? The Act's enforcement measures can be draconian. A father can face wage garnishments, tax return interceptions, and even imprisonment for non-payment. Yet, where are the enforcement measures for ensuring fathers get to spend quality time with their children? The Child Support Act in its current form does not consider the nuances of each family's situation. It does not take into account the willingness of some fathers to be involved in their children's lives, nor does it consider the obstacles they might face in doing so. What we're seeing is a system that seems to value a father's wallet more than his role as a parent. This isn't just a tax on fatherhood, it's a penalty. A man is being penalized for wanting to be a father, for wanting to have a meaningful relationship with his child. The Act's shortcomings are emblematic of the broader bias in the family court system, a system that too often sidelines fathers, undermining their rights and their relationships with their children. So we have to ask ourselves, are our laws punishing men for being fathers? If the answer is yes, then it's time we reevaluate these laws and strive for a system that truly values both parents' contributions, not just their financial ones. As we've seen, the bias in our family court system has far-reaching and devastating consequences. This isn't just about statistics, it's about real people, real families, and real lives being torn apart. Let's take a moment to revisit what we've uncovered so far. The greatest threat to men under 50 is suicide, with 75% of all suicides involving men. This is a silent crisis, exacerbated by the fact that 2 out of 3 murder victims are men. We have also highlighted the plight of our fatherless generation. Over 3.8 million children are growing up in homes without their fathers. 1 in 4 children don't consider their fathers as part of their families, and 1 in 3 children live without their father's presence. This unfortunate reality is mirrored in our prison population. 59% of prisoners are fathers, a stark contrast to the negligible percentage of incarcerated mothers. We've talked about the high cost of family breakdown, which is a staggering £47 billion each year, and every day, 200 children lose contact with their fathers due to decisions made in secret courts. Finally, we've discussed how the Child Support Act of 1991 essentially imposed a tax on fatherhood, placing a financial obligation on men who are denied the right to a relationship with their children. This is taxation without representation, a gross violation of their rights. These are not just numbers, these are lives being affected, futures being altered, and potential being squandered. The bias against men in our family court system isn't just an issue for fathers, it's an issue for the children who are growing up without them, for the communities that are dealing with the fallout, and for our society as a whole. Change is not just desirable, it's essential, for the sake of our fathers, our children, and our future. Now that you're aware of the bias in our family court system, it's time to take action. The grim statistics and heartbreaking stories we've discussed today aren't just figures and anecdotes. They represent real people, real fathers, and real children who are caught in a system that is far from fair. It's not just a problem, it's a crisis. But as with any crisis, it's also an opportunity for change, for improvement, and for justice. Firstly, we must advocate for legislative reform. Our laws need to reflect the reality that fathers are just as vital to a child's upbringing as mothers. We need to challenge the Child Support Act of 1991, which acts as a tax on fatherhood without giving any rights in return. Contact your local representatives, write letters, sign petitions, and vote for those who fight for equal rights in family courts. Secondly, support fathers' rights organizations. These groups are on the front lines, battling against the bias and working tirelessly to ensure that fathers have a fair chance. Donate, volunteer, or simply spread the word about their work. Every bit of support counts. Thirdly, raise awareness about the issue. Talk about it with your friends, family, and colleagues. Share relevant articles and videos on social media. Start conversations in your community. The more people know about this, the harder it becomes for the system to ignore. But don't forget the personal level. If you know a father who is struggling through a family court battle, offer your support. Sometimes a listening ear or a word of encouragement can make all the difference. Remember, change doesn't come overnight. It requires persistence, courage, and collective effort. But if we stand together, if we raise our voices as one, we can bring about the change we seek. We need not accept a system that tears families apart and devalues the role of a father. We have the power to challenge it, to change it, and to create a world where every parent is valued equally. Together, we can create a fairer, more just family court system. Having illuminated the bias in our family court system and the devastating impact it has on fathers and children alike, it's time for us to pause, reflect, And most importantly, act. This isn't merely about statistics or faceless victims. This is about your neighbor, your friend, your brother, your son. This is about a generation of children growing up without their fathers, about men being punished for wanting to be an active part of their children's lives. We urge you to not only listen but also to engage. Subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications to stay updated on this issue. We are a community here, and your involvement is key to our collective success. We are also excited to announce our upcoming crowdfunding appeal. We aim to establish a charitable legal firm dedicated to representing fathers, providing them with the legal support they need to fight against the inherent bias in the system. This is a massive undertaking, and we need your help to make it a reality. In the coming weeks, we will be sharing more details about this initiative, including how you can contribute. Thank you for taking the time to understand this silent crisis. Your support, your awareness, and your action can make a world of difference. Together, we can challenge the system, demand fairness, and ensure that no father is denied his rightful place in his child's life. Together, we can make a difference. Thank you.